Hello, welcome back to the ministry. And today I am doing another word. I'm still on social media sabbatical. So, by the time you see this will be after my sabbatical. But the Lord showed me something this morning. I was laying in bed and I was thinking about the mind and the mindset. Because I've been seeing a lot of these commercials that have been promoting mental health, better health, hers, all this kind of stuff. And all of it's talking about taking medications to better balance your mental health. And a lot of people will do that because of the fact that some are not aware of what you need to do, that you can do it without medications. Very simple. It says in the word that my people perish for lack of knowledge. Some people just simply do not understand that you don't have to take medications to balance out your mind. Now, the mental state is a lot deeper than just saying, oh, you don't have to take medications, because some people have been raised on medications. Some people, that's what they've been taught is what they need. And some people don't understand the spiritual aspect of where that comes from. So it's multiple levels to this. And a lot of people, what they will do is, because of the fact that, oh, it's just a quick fix. It's just a quick fix to go to a doctor and be prescribed some medication. I remember it was back in somewhere between 2011, 12. I was in a different state of isolation God had me in. Didn't realize it. And some family members said, oh, well, maybe you should go to the doctor. And when I went to the doctor, the family members decided that they wanted to tell the doctor, oh, she don't do this, she don't do this, pretty much telling them what they thought of me, which was interesting because they never said any of this stuff to me. But basically, they wanted to throw that on a doctor so that the doctor would prescribe me medication. When I sat down and I talked to the doctor myself, I explained what I was doing, and I explained what I was going through. The doctor said, there's nothing wrong with you. But then turned around and said something different to them when they came back in the room. And at that particular point, I knew I was never going back to that doctor, because the doctor was not, a doctor is supposed to be an advocate for you, not the person that brought you there. You understand what I'm saying? So when they said, oh, we want to put you on medication, I'm like, I'm not feeling good about this. At the time, many years ago, I was in a relationship with someone, and I asked their advice about it, and they said they didn't feel like it was a good idea for me either. And I'm glad I never did, because later on, I ended up doing research about the medications that they were talking about putting me on. And a lot of those medications for creative will slow you down. It dims your ability to be as creative as you are. And it makes it hard for you to process things because of the way that these medications work. And interestingly enough, nowadays you're hearing that a lot of these medications that people were taking for anxiety and depression are giving people Tourette tics, facial twitches, all of these kinds of things, but nobody's putting it together with these medications. So what am I saying? Why did I bring this up particularly today? Well, I've been reading, I went through and I listened to the entire book by Joyce Meyer's, Battlefield of the Mind. Excellent book. If you really want to know about mental health, that's like the best read, because it goes through processes of things in which you need to understand about your own mental health in order for you to gain understanding about what you're going through mentally. Because a lot of people can't recognize it until you recognize it. And a lot of it has to do with your the way you process things, the psychology of how you process things. See, a lot of people are mind, body, spirit. This is something that we've heard for many years. Mind, body, and spirit. Your mind can't operate alone without your body. And your spiritual health helps your mind operate. So if you can take all the care you want to with your body, but if you're not taking care of your mental health and you're not taking care of your spiritual health, all of it works together in tandem. So if you're not taking care of one area, the other's going to suffer. A person can sit there and take care of their body, eat right, exercise, go to church, read the word, do all of this. But if they ain't taking care of this, their mental health, and coming into the recognition of their mental issues, they didn't do anything. You understand what I'm saying? This is why you run into Christians that need deliverance. And there's a debate amongst the Christian deliverance journey as to whether, okay, should Christian deliverance take place once every 3 months, once a year? How often should you be delivered? Are you delivered the first time that you get delivered, or do you have to go back and continually be delivered? There are some people that believe you gotta go back every 3 months. There are some people that if you get delivered, you should be delivered. So there is a debate. Because for one thing, the devil is busy. He's always trying to enter through as many gates as he possibly can. Eyes, ears, nose, mouth, hands. Idle hands are the devil's playground. I always say this. Mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and socially. And he loves playing with your finances. I talk about this all the time. But you can literally categorize each of these areas. And they probably come under mental, emotional, up here. Physical, spiritual. Social, and financial. So once you come under the understanding of having the right belief systems and the right people around you, which I actually have a chart for this that I developed recently that helps you balance these things out. And the fact of the matter is, you really need to find a balance. Most people are imbalanced. Most people are dealing with an imbalance. A lot of people that you see that are dealing with a lot of depression on the minor level, when they first try to start to get you to go to a doctor and see about depressive medication, some of it can simply be changed with a dietary adjustment. Most people aren't paying attention to what they eat. Most people are eating what they want to eat and not what they should be eating for their body's appropriate balance. You know that there's an actual book that talks about the blood type diet. Some of us have a specific blood type and we shouldn't be eating certain things anyway. And if you know what your blood type is, you'll eat the right things. But contrary to that, there's also, you have a Mediterranean diet, and then there's I think it's the blue zone and the red zone diet that helps you find out there's certain dietary foods that if you eat them, certain countries, they'll live longer. People in those countries have been living longer and functioning at a much better mental, emotional, physical aspect of themselves because they were on a different diet. There's actually a place in, I got a video on it on my YouTube. I can't think of the name of it right now, but these people, they drink apricot juice for 6 months out of the year. And because it's certain things that don't grow during that 6-month period, and all they do is juice for that 6-month period, and they only drink this juice, people in that country live to 120 years old. And they look youthful for years. So, but it's the American society that does not know about this, nor will they talk about this. I could go deep on that, but I'm not going to go there here. And a lot of it is secondarily, are you taking the right supplements? I knew back when I was dealing with some of the issues that I was dealing with back then, I went to a doctor, and the first thing that the doctor told me is, a actual doctor, not a psychiatrist. The doctor told me, oh, you're B12 deficient. A lot of people don't know that a lot of the stuff that they're dealing with is a deficiency. I already know that I'm low on magnesium and calcium. And when I'm low on magnesium and calcium, that affects sinus pressure, headaches, all of these types of things. And I do get those. And having that understanding, I just need to get those things into my system in order to change my moods, aside from eating right. You understand what I'm saying? But we're living in a time frame right now. Inflation, a lot of things are going up in price. I was looking at last night, there's a couple of things like Daily Harvest. They also got Walmart is doing this deal with this company on supplements. It's total something, but I know it has Total Beats, total some other ashwam, something like that. It helps with anxiety and stress. And I'm interested in it, and because they're selling these at a discounted price to what you would normally pay for your supplements. So you can either order them or go directly into your drugstore or Walmart and get this particular supplement, and they got them in gummies and all of this, and then all of these kinds of good health type things. If you're eating right and your body, you heard that saying, you are what you eat. If you're eating a bunch of cheesesteak subs and pizzas and all of this type of stuff and wondering why your body is sluggish and you're depressed all the time, maybe it's the fact that you're eating that instead of salads and kales and all of this type of stuff, whole bunch of meats and all of these types of things. Now, I've been vegan for about 8 years now. I haven't put my finger to any type of meat. What I will use, I will admit this, on occasion I do use the broth from when I don't have access to a good vegetarian broth. I will use a chicken broth or beef broth for flavoring. I'll admit that. And I do eat eggs, which I did some research that actually makes me lactovarian. But it's an element that you've got to take care of your body and your mind. So what are you filling yourself with? If I'm sitting here 24/7 filling myself with godly things, but the person that's sitting not 5 feet from me is filling themselves with news, murder, death, cancer, this, that, COVID, this, the other thing, what kind of environment will either of us be operating in? We won't be on the same wavelength because they're filling themselves with this and I'm filling myself with God. You understand what I'm saying? So a battlefield of the mind is, as long as I'm filling myself with God, you run into a person, and especially as a child of God that prays and intercedes, the enemy always tries to stick you with a narcissist. This is actually a known fact, because narcissistic people search for somebody that they can intimidate. Do you know that the reason that, if you really pay attention to the story of David and Goliath, the reason that the people could not take out Goliath is because Goliath was operating in a spirit of narcissism. And the spirit of narcissism that Goliath was operating in was actually crushing the pride of the people that were trying to fight him. They couldn't fight him because they were operating in a spirit of pride. Remember that they were valiant, big, strong men and all of this, but they couldn't even operate in their own armor because they were their pride. So when David came in, he was not affected by the spirit of pride. So what did he do? He shot a slingshot at the man's head. Mind. It's a metaphor for my mindset. I remember I was watching this few months ago, and this episode is probably about to come back on my old TV show. And in it, the main character was very much a physical, fit fighter. And when she fought, she was very cocky with the way that she fought. But when she lost her ability to fight in this particular episode, she felt distraught because she was like, how am I supposed to defeat this nemesis if I cannot physically fight them? And then on top of it, the person took somebody that was very close to her. So she went in to try and defend herself. She could barely carry the bag that had her weapons in it. This is how bad it was, because she had no physical strength. So the only way that she was able to defeat this particular nemesis was that she had to mentally outthink the person. 9 times out of 10, your nemesis will tell you, especially if they're cocky, what their Achilles heel is, because they think that you can't deal with it. But if you listen long enough, they'll tell you why they don't like a particular thing. They'll tell you why they're against a thing. Because you see, what the enemy plays on is that person's mind, will, and emotions. It will get the person to operate in against the will of God in a spirit of rebellion. Emotionally deal with a trigger point that keeps them having access to the person, whether it's alcohol, drugs, emotional stress, anxiety, so on and so forth. And the emotional stress and anxiety, all of these kinds of things, in order to use it against the person.